following is an Infinity One Productions presentation. Keeping it honest, insightful, interactive.
Hold one. Arm drag. Whoa! This is
Brett screwed Brett.
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Brett screwed Brett.
hold two. Arm bar.
Hey, get a nice shot of the brand new Mr. and Mrs. Hunter First Helmsley.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate your hat. I hate your t-shirts. I hate your wristbands. I hate your shoes. I hate your music. I hate the C Nation. I hate everything that you stand for.
Sodas rule.
Yeah, they do.
Hold three. The moss-covered, three-handle family Gradunzo.
You're listening to the RCWR Show with your host, Lee Sanders.
And a very good Sunday night to you all. What's up? It's the Black Avenger, a.k.a. the Black Azrael. Lee Sanders with you all with an all-new episode of the RCWR Post Show coming at you right now on January 27th, 2013. We are just few minutes, just precious minutes, folks, removed from the 26th annual WWE Royal Rumble pay-per-view. For those of you that might be listening to us for the very first time, we hope that you enjoy this coverage. Our chat room is open right now at blogtalkradio.com. Feel free to jump in there when you get a free moment. Also, you can interact with us during the course of this episode by hitting us up on Twitter at Infinity1Prod. You can also interact with us on Facebook at Infinity One Productions, where we cover so much more than wrestling-related news. We give you news that you can use. Give it a like and check it out. I am not flying solo on tonight's post show. I have with me the lovely, the White Queen, the lovely co-producer, Tammy. It's been a good while since she has put her lovely voice on here. She wanted to chime in her thoughts on this pay-per-view, and what a historic night that it was as we were crowned a new WWE Champion, as the People's Champion, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who has not tasted WWE Championship gold in over 10 years, shockingly in front of a Phoenix, Arizona crowd that, to the best of my knowledge, as I was taking in all of this, as I was seeing, looked to be stunned. We're going to go over the full results for you guys, live fan reactions. The way we're going to set this up, you can call in right now, get your thoughts ready, have it all be prepared. During the course of this episode, we're just going to be squeezing in the phone calls. We aren't going to have you wait for a long period of time. We'll be able to get to your calls within the first 10 minutes, okay, guys? So get your thoughts ready. And lovely co-producer Tammy, let me go ahead and slide you in here. Lovely Tammy, how are you tonight, hon?
I'm good, Lee. Thanks for asking.
Oh, hon, I appreciate you doing this. I know you've been really busy behind the scenes. I really appreciate you taking the time out to cover this Royal Rumble event. And let me give the number out for those of you so you can get your thoughts prepared. Just listen for the prompts. Get yourself live on the air, my good friends. Number to call, 646-478-3525. Once again, that's 646-478-3525. All right, so let's go ahead and let's talk about this pay-per-view. Tammy, those last few minutes there, I don't know about you, but, I mean, I'm taking it in, and I'm looking at the crowd. And again, I don't like to be one of those type of people to react off of a crowd, but I just could not help but notice that Phoenix crowd, though there were cheers, it wasn't as eruptive. It wasn't as explosive as it's been since The Rock has been coming back all this year. It seemed as if the energy that you could feel from the crowd, and I'm usually pretty good at profiling people. That's what I used to have to do at a previous job years and years back. I used to have to profile people because I was working in law enforcement. I'm just led to believe that the WWE Universe, they are just like, okay, what the hell? What's next for CM Punk? Where exactly are we going to go right here with The Rock as the champion? Talk about the vibes that you were feeling from that.
Well, really, for me, I think they were just throwing one heck of a major curveball. You know, I mean, for most people, they thought the match was over. Mm-hmm. And, you know, pay-per-view is done. Okay, CM Punk retains. Time to go home. And then all of a sudden, Vince McMahon comes out and says, well, not just yet.
Yeah.
So I really think the fan reaction, you know, I really expected more of a reaction. But you really didn't see any or get that because it truly was one of shock.
It really was one of shock. And see, I want you guys to understand the way that the shock came in. Now, let's really set this up properly. As we all know, as far back as, June of 2012, somewhere around there on that 1,000th episode of WWE Raw, we saw The Rock come back. He revealed that whoever the WWE Champion was, he was going to have a match with them on this very night, and all people, everybody, had their opinions on this. They said, well, it's got to be CM Punk taking on The Rock. And, you know, we had that core audience, myself included, and I should let you guys know, by the way, for those of you that had checked out our match prediction special where I had offered match predictions for Sunday's pay-per-view, Tammy, I did pretty damn good. I mean, I hit a home run on every single one. It was probably one of the most executed, produced Call That Match specials we've done to date, where I laid everything out properly. But I went on record. I said, you know what, you got to go with CM Punk. CM Punk, he's been that workhorse. He has been that dominant force. He has been that breadwinner for the WWE. Now, when I say breadwinner, I don't want you guys to just latch on to that and be like, oh, well, actually, John Cena. Yeah, we know that John Cena is the main top guy. I'm talking about as far as doing all the dirty work, going to all the house shows, making the public appearances. John Cena has been that man. He has been a hell of a champion for the length of time that he was. Just so many people were expecting him to be, you know, retaining this championship belt. And Tammy, listeners, this is exactly how it was looking in those final few precious seconds of the match. We see that the lights go out, and we know that usually when the lights go out like that, it's a sign that the Shield is going to get involved. Of course, that stipulation that was put out there by the WWE chairman, Vince McMahon, telling CM Punk, if the Shield get involved in this match of yours against The Rock, I will have no choice but to strip you of the WWE title. So it's put out there. The lights go out. It's all black. You're wondering what's going on here. I actually kicked back. I didn't care how far back I was. I had it on my DVR as I was recording the pay-per-view. I actually watched it frame for frame, and I can definitely confirm to you guys that it was, without a doubt, the Shield that got involved. I was actually able to see Roman Reigns' tattoo on his right arm, if I'm not mistaken, because of the way that the lights were kind of flashing in between it being pitch black. So definitely able to confirm that. Of course, we see the champion CM Punk. He is able to pick up the win after The Rock gets this beat down in the dark by the Shield. Picks up the win. Everybody just is like, all right, CM Punk won. Goddamn, what the hell, man? What's going to happen now? We see the WWE chairman come out. He is ready to strip the WWE champion of that title when all of a sudden we see a bruised up Rock say to the WWE chairman outside the ring, no. This night is not going to end like this. This isn't how it's going to go down. Restart the match. And we see Vince McMahon, he restarts the match. He gives The Rock what he wants. We're kind of under the impression here, I'm sure, as well as every single one of you are looking at this and saying, okay, well, CM Punk is going to get another clean win over The Rock then, right? This should be in the books. On the contrary, Rock, call it stamina, call it the power of the Brahma Bull, call it the power of the people that he had in his spirit tonight. He got the job done. He did his spine buster, delivered that people's elbow, and has become the WWE champion for the first time in 10 years. Some people have described it as robbery. Let's go to Philip in the chat room right now, who puts, there is absolutely no evidence of the Shield interfering. Phil, we welcome you. I don't know who your cable provider was. For us, it was Dish Network. And I can confirm, buddy, because I'm one of those type of people, when I see a frame that's very interesting, and Tammy, my girlfriend, they'll both tell you that I've been known, especially when I see a funny commercial, I will actually freeze it and I will watch it frame for frame for frame. And just to give you the type of guy that I am, remember President John F. Kennedy assassination, where there was a special that had aired on the History Channel, and I literally had watched the assassination just frame for frame for frame. So trust me when I say that I am able to confirm that it was, in fact, the Shield that attacked him. Notice the description that I gave. I said I was able to see Roman Reigns' tattoo on his arm. I can even go a step further and say I was actually able to see his upper body of his silhouette, his head, all that. If I can get an image of you guys, and I will post it on our Facebook page. I'm not ribbing you guys. I will post it tonight as soon as we are done doing the post show. But take that word, okay? It's honest right here. We're keeping it real with you guys. But again, Philip, he brings up a very valid point. This is outrage. This is robbery. Tammy, what do you make of The Rock becoming the WWE Champion? Is this a joyous occasion for that occasional WWF fan that grew up watching The Rock, or is this a case right here where we might have those newer set of WWE fans that kind of feel as though this really shouldn't be going down? Like, what do you say to those hardcore CM Punk fans that have been with this guy since his days in Ring of Honor, since his days in the indie promotions? What do you say to those CM Punk fans that felt as though their true champion was robbed tonight?
That's a very valid point. You kind of have to, it's almost two different things. You're going to have the Rock fans that are stunned at first, and then they're jumping out of their chairs because he's, back in the saddle again. But then you also have those true CM Punk fans who are at this point going, what in the holy hell just happened? And they also have the right to feel, to a point, that he was a bit robbed, because, as he pointed out, prior to the match, he basically said, "Don't interfere in the match," so on and so forth. And honestly, he would have won clean and simple. If they hadn't have interfered, there would not have been a restart to that match at all.
So you honestly feel if it wasn't for the Shield, from what you saw from your perspective, you honestly felt that CM Punk had it in the books?
He definitely had it on the ropes. I know that Rock seemed to be making a bit of a comeback at that point, because prior to that, he seemed to be mostly on the ground instead of standing up.
For those of you joining us, Black Avenger, a.k.a. the Black Azrael, Lee Sanders here with the lovely, the White Queen, co-producer Tammy. Lovely lady, helps me behind the scenes here, helps me get ready for the shows. Hey, you've been doing a phenomenal job, by the way, reaching out, trying to have guests come on by the show. Love the good work you've been doing for us all month long here. I know I say thank you all the time, but I don't get the chance to say thank you enough live on the air. Thank you for all the good hard work you've been doing, and I appreciate you joining me here tonight. Very valid points you brought up. For those that did not order the pay-per-view, of course, that one question is being asked: how was The Rock physically in this ring tonight? Was his performance better than last year's WrestleMania? I want to answer that in a nutshell, and then I want to go on ahead and I want to squeeze in a phone call, and I want to get you all's reactions, those of you that saw CM Punk taking on The Rock. I don't want you to give any other spoilers right now for those that might have not seen the pay-per-view. I just want to get you guys ready. We'll come to you, and then we'll get your reaction, and then we'll put you back on hold, and we'll actually come back to you again to get a little bit more reaction. But for those of you that saw the pay-per-view tonight, I want to pick your brains on Rock versus CM Punk, what y'all thought of it. So get your thoughts prepared. We're going to open up the phone lines in exactly 3 minutes or less. For those wondering about what was going on with The Rock physically in the ring,
I got to go out on a limb because I was actually looking at footage earlier today. I couldn't help but go back to Rock versus Cena from last year's WrestleMania. I don't know about you, Tammy, but I actually enjoyed physically what The Rock was doing with CM Punk. He just seemed a little more loose as opposed to what he was doing with Cena. And I mean, quite honestly, we've had a lot of fans that said, you know, with that match at last year's WrestleMania, Cena literally was carrying The Rock during that whole bout. This one, The Rock was just coming off as though he was really prepared. He was determined to put out a better in-ring performance than that of last year. Was that the same perspective you were able to take away from this? What was it in general for you?
Yeah, for me it was. It was a better performance. Well, first of all, you're kind of having to go back, and Rock has been, for the last month at least, has been doing shows, whether it be Raw or SmackDown, and has been in turn sort of preparing himself this time versus Cena. I mean, it was a little bit, but he wasn't at all the live shows the month before last year.
Right.
So, yeah, he was prepared a whole lot more this time than he was last year. And he physically seemed more prepared this time around versus last time around. Because,
he really did, yeah. And,
yeah.
Of course, for those of you wondering, in case you might not know, the person that had a large part in training with The Rock this time around, it was no other than Michael McGillicuddy, of course, son of the late Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, doing a phenomenal job there. Let's go ahead. Let's open up the phone lines. Again, I just want to talk about Rock versus Cena with you guys. We're not going to drop your call. We'll just take your reactions from that particular match. We'll put you back on hold, and then we'll come back to you for a little bit more reaction. We didn't get that much action tonight, but, you know, honestly, overall, it was definitely a great Royal Rumble event. Tammy, would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. It
Okay.
definitely kept you intrigued.
It really did. It really did. Let's go to caller from the 620 area code. Once again, if you'd like to call and talk about the Rock versus Punk match, you can do so right now. Keep going back, spelling down 646-478-3525. Get you all's reactions from that, and then we'll talk about the rest of the card for tonight. Caller from the 620 area code. You're live on the air, my friend. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Sean McIntosh. I'm calling from Kansas. Just wanted to say I'm sorry to go off on a limb here. This is probably going to catch you by surprise, but when I was on, you said to go into the chat. Somehow you guys blocked me from the chat. I don't know what the heck the deal is with that.
What was your username?
NFL WWE 90.
Okay, and we'll put you on hold. Yeah, I should let you know that the reason why we did that is if you have a profile that kind of looks a little suspicious to us, where you're actually promoting your own show, unfortunately, once we pull up your profile and we see that, we unfortunately will kick you out of the chat room. So, you know, we humbly apologize for that. You know, we would definitely like to get your reaction if that's what you wanted to talk about. But honestly, you know, what you actually could have done, you could have just looked at our profile page on Blog Talk Radio, and you could have actually sent us a message that way. But there's always a reason why we operate like that. Don't take it personal. The best advice we always give to people from time to time, if they want to enter our chat room with a show handle name, ask us first. That way we know who you are, what you're about, because we're pretty cool and laid back over here. We get along with everybody. We've actually done collaborations with people from time to time on other shows, so it's not like we're really being mean towards people that have their own shows. Tammy, would you agree with those sentiments?
I would agree.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next caller there. Let's go to caller from the 510 area code. You're live on air, my friend.
Hey, what's up, Lee? You know, hey, I ordered the pay-per-view. It was, I got to give it a 9 because, like you were saying, the shock values of, you know, what the Shield have, you know, done for the past week to The Rock, and Yeah, I mean, it's good to see Chris Jericho in the Royal Rumble. I thought he was.
Well, hang on. Let's not. Okay. Unfortunately, we got to. You know how we do it over here. We got those people that might have not seen the pay-per-view. So stop right there. Right now, we're talking about Rock versus CM Punk. What did you think about that match?
I mean, the Rock they both started out good. I mean, they the Rock was kind of like, well, he was just bringing it, and the shock value was, like I was saying, with the Shield, it was I gotta give it a 9 or a 10. The match. I mean,
are you happy? Are you happy
I'm excited,
that the Rock?
I jumped in the air, so like, man, I was so excited to see the Rock win the WWE Championship. I mean, for a long time, I've been a huge Rock, and Stone Cold fan, and man, it's really good to see the Rock. Hopefully he continue on.
I like that. Good words, Christian. Hang with us, buddy. We know that you always take time out of your schedule to check out all the shows. We definitely appreciate that. Hang tight. We'll get more reactions from you. No problem at all. All right, so Tammy, as Christian had alluded to earlier there, Chris Jericho, of course, he had made a return to the Royal Rumble, and I want to talk about that. I was going to kind of go in a specific order, but, I think that's actually a good segue, because now we know that The Rock is holding on to that WWE title, and we have one more pay-per-view before WrestleMania. Of course, it's the Elimination Chamber. So we already know Rock is locked. In case for those of you that might have missed it, he had been advertised at least for about almost a month that he was going to be participating at that event. Well, now it is a sure lock. He will be involved, possibly in that Elimination Chamber match against 5 other participants. Let's talk about that Royal Rumble match. Christian, again, he said Chris Jericho returned. Truly a good mark-out moment for a WWE fan. Of course, we had heard a little bit of rumblings as far as who all could be popping up at the Rumble. We heard rumblings that Shelton Benjamin could possibly be the one popping up. We even heard Carlito was going to be returning. We heard Gene Snitsky was going to be returning. We heard all types of people. Undertaker. And that wasn't just only put out there by us. There was a couple other people that actually believed Undertaker was going to pop up. Of course, the winner of that Royal Rumble match, it was none other than the C Nation leader, John Cena. And this definitely had just upset a ton of people. And let's take it up to Twitter, because we were interacting with a good majority of you all tonight. I want to go to Sean. Sean had said the following. He said, no, fuck FEMA. That's exactly what he called him. I thought he was saying FEMA, but he said fuck FEMA. Tammy, your thoughts on John Cena winning the Royal Rumble? Was this the route that WWE should have gone, or should they have went in another direction?
Well, in my opinion, in the beginning, I really actually thought once I saw Ryback come out, and with everything that's been happening with him, I actually was under the impression for a hot second that it very well could have been Ryback that was going to win the Royal Rumble. And then, of course, that did not happen because basically Cena took it. As far as where they're going with this, I think the nostalgia of having him win and being in that elite group is very interesting.
And of course, elite group, sorry to interrupt you, that elite group that Tammy is alluding to, by John Cena winning the Royal Rumble, he now becomes, if I'm not mistaken, the 4th man to win 2 Royal Rumble pay-per-views. Of course, he joins the likes of Stone Cold Steve Austin, HBK, Shawn Michaels. He also joins Hulk Hogan. So to be among those men, I mean, that's pretty historic in itself. Please continue, Tammy.
Yeah, I honestly think that not quite sure exactly, where they're going with this, but I'm interested to see what's going to happen.
Well, I think we know exactly where they're going with this. It's pretty obvious. We were kind of under the impression that maybe they weren't going to go the route because there was rumblings that they believed in a once-in-a-lifetime type of match, as that is how they had dubbed it last year. But let's be for real. You're going to go with where your smart money is. You're going to go with what can definitely sell you tickets, pay-per-view buy rates, get your seats filled up in that arena. They definitely want to go with The Rock versus John Cena too. Very interesting that they decided to go this route. Let's tell you about the order of eliminations, and it went exactly as follows. We'll run through this quickly. Number of entrants and eliminations, it goes as follows. Dolph Ziggler, he came out at number 1. Chris Jericho, he came out at number 2. Probably one of the best mark-out moments right there, but I have a few more mark-out moments for you that went down. Chris Jericho came in at number 3, followed by Kofi Kingston. Santino came in, but he was eliminated quickly by Cody Rhodes. Drew McIntyre of 3MB. At number 7, Titus O'Neil. At number 8, we had Goldust. Now, right before Goldust came out, Drew McIntyre actually was eliminated by Jericho. Again, Goldust returning at number 8. That was a hardcore mark-out moment right there. Tammy, I couldn't help but go, Goldust. When I saw this guy, I mean, just truly a freaking mark-out moment for me. And the fact that the fans still knew who the hell this guy was, that was just awesome for me. David Otunga, who came out with a black eye. I don't know if his fiance, what's her name, doing the little
Jennifer
commercials. Jennifer, I don't know if Jennifer Hudson had punched him in the eye and was like, "You are not going back on the road, goddammit." But, I mean, for a guy that hadn't been wrestling in God knows how long, because I can't recall the last time I've seen him on WWE programming, this guy just had one hell of a shiner. I'm like, wait a minute now, shouldn't this be happening before, shouldn't this be happening during the match?
After.
Right.
Or during and after.
Yeah. Like, what the hell? We saw Heath Slater of 3MB come out. Sheamus, he then followed at number 11. He eliminated Titus O'Neil and David Otunga. This would be followed by Tensai. At number 13, Brodus Clay. Goldust, and we had a really great moment right here, something that a lot of fans, including us over here as broadcasters, that we wanted to see for a good long period of time. We wanted to see a Goldust versus Cody Rhodes match. We kind of heard those rumblings there last year that maybe something was going to happen at that WrestleMania, as Goldust was still employed with the company at the time, but, unfortunately things didn't pan out that way. And good moment right here as we saw the two brothers have a little standoff, and again, Goldust, he gets eliminated by Cody Rhodes. Rey Mysterio returned. Of course, he had recently returned at a WWE live event house show. Fans not really too, he didn't really get that much of a pop. It was kind of like, oh, yeah, Rey Mysterio, yay. I don't know about you, Tammy, but it's like every time I see Rey Mysterio now, it's like, okay, try not to break a leg, because I know how injury-prone this guy is. Let's continue. We also saw Darren Young pop up. Brodus Clay, he came in. He got eliminated by everybody. Now, Tensai, he got eliminated by Kofi Kingston, and I love the running gag that they have going on right here with Kofi Kingston. Previous year, he did the handspring stands going into the ring. This year, we saw him get clotheslined by Dolph Ziggler that sent him flying off the apron into the back of Tensai. Tensai, he just flips him off, puts him on the announcer's table, walks away. Kofi still is not eliminated. Remember, both feet have to touch the outside of the mat. Kofi Kingston, he's not sure where the hell he's going to go. He's thinking about leaping from on top of the announcer's table to the apron. Doesn't quite work out that way, as he doesn't even follow it through. So he looks at JBL, says, "Hey, give me your chair." And he actually jumps on the chair like it's a polo stick to the ring. only to get eliminated by Cody Rhodes after he was able to touch the apron there. Tammy, your thoughts on seeing the charismatic Spider-Man known as Kofi Kingston? I mean, this guy is just clever, and he's got some great agility here.
Absolutely. I actually have been a fan of Kofi for quite some time. I think he's original and inventive. It was kind of interesting to see, okay, so what is going to happen here? Because I see him on one side and the ring on the other. So, okay, how is he going to do that? And I'm thinking, well, my goodness, I know he's pretty limber like that, but to see him use the chair as that pogo, kind of like a pogo stick, was very interesting. I was actually kind of hurt that basically right after he had done all that work, he ended up getting thrown over the top rope just after that.
Yeah. It's like you take that time out, and this actually happened to me. And I always love telling this funny story. Just bear with me for a couple of seconds here, guys. It's a funny story. It reminds me of back in my junior high school days. I used to go over at my pretend sister's house, and there was this one event. It was a WrestleMania, I remember for a fact. And back then, you would take the pay-per-view if you was trying to, illegally watch it. You would just do your thing downstairs, mess with the wires, mess with the cable box a little bit, and, boom, you was able to check out a free pay-per-view. And I remember I had made myself a hoagie sandwich. And I remember I had disappeared. I went to go use the bathroom, and I was going to come on back and get my drink, get my chips, get my hoagie sandwich so I can kick back and watch the pay-per-view. And I put all that hard work into just preparing that hoagie sandwich a particular way. I mean, I had the right type of bread. I had the lunch meat. I had the whole 9 yards going on. And I come back, and the sandwich was just gone. And, I mean, the plate is just not even a crumb. I'm looking around. I'm like, who ate my sandwich? I asked my pretend sister, I said, did you eat my sandwich? She's like, no. I asked her brother, I said, did you eat my sandwich? She's like, no. I was like, who the hell ate the sandwich? It turns out it was the dog, because I looked at the dog, and the dog had a little bit of Miracle Whip around its mouth, and it's licking its chops like, and it looked at me, and it kind of realized, oh, shit, and it hauled ass, literally. And I didn't see the dog again for the rest of the night. And the connection of why I'm telling that story, all that hard work that you put into, all that hard work I made with that sandwich, and somebody just came and went yoink, that's how I kind of compare that to Kofi Kingston there. I know you guys are probably like, what the hell? But, I think it's a funny story. I think when you see the connection there, you kind of appreciate what I'm saying. It's like, you do all that hard work. You see Kofi Kingston, he does all that hard work trying to get himself into the ring, and, he didn't even make it. He just touches the apron. He gets on top. Cody Rhodes is like, oh, hey, Kofi, boom, and Kofi just goes flying outside the apron. Hilarious stuff right there. We also had another mark-out moment. We saw the Godfather return, and you know what? Let me take that mark-out moment back, and Tammy, I think you can agree with me on this to a certain extent. People didn't even actually know who the hell this guy was. I mean, you hear his music, and he comes out with these two, how did you describe these women? Because I know you was looking at the Brodus Clay dancers. How did you describe these two women that came out with Godfather there?
Well, I'll be perfectly honest with you. They kind of looked a little homely to me. It didn't seem very voluptuous. They looked like some average girls that he took off the street and said, you want to come there with me? Okay.
As Sir Mix-a-Lot used to say, baby got back. These women didn't have anything
didn't have
going.
Back, no.
There was nothing to look at, not even any pretty faces. I'm like, damn, the economy must be rough because Godfather ain't picking the hoes like he used to. But we saw him quickly get eliminated by none other than Dolph Ziggler. I mean, as soon as Godfather touched the apron, Dolph Ziggler was just like, get the hell out of here. Great little moment right there. As the fans, surprisingly, they really did not care about the Godfather. They was almost like deers looking in front of a set of headlights. It was kind of like, who is this? Who is this person? What the hell? Weird moment right there. Wade Barrett would follow. Then it would be John Cena coming in at number 19. Heath Slater, Cody Rhodes, they got eliminated by John Cena. Damian Sandow came in. Rey Mysterio was eliminated by Wade Barrett. was followed by Daniel Bryan, Antonio Cesaro, Great Khali, Zack Ryder, Randy Orton. Great Khali, he got eliminated by Kane. Meanwhile, Kane got eliminated by Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan, this all happened like in a matter of seconds. Daniel Bryan, he got eliminated by Antonio Cesaro. Zack Ryder eliminated by Randy Orton. Jinder Mahal then came out at number 27. We had Antonio Cesaro get eliminated by John Cena. Fans actually booed when Cesaro had got eliminated by John Cena. I must admit, I've grown quite fond of Antonio Cesaro, and I was a little heartbroken to see him get eliminated by Cena there. We did see Miz come out. He briefly had got into it with Cesaro. We have found out that Miz apparently had injured his ankle during the YouTube pre-show, and we'll definitely touch up on that in a nutshell. We did notice the glitches, by the way. For those of you that like those numbers, you know how we usually do it with our coverage of the YouTube pre-show. We do have the numbers for you guys. We'll cover that later. But we saw Miz, Cesaro, they got into it briefly. Jinder Mahal, he would get eliminated by Sheamus. Making his return at number 29, Sin Cara. That was another one that really didn't get that much of a pop. Wade Barrett, shockingly, got eliminated by NXT wrestler Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas, of course, he had won the NXT wrestling tournament that went down during the weekend to be able to win a covenant spot into this year's Royal Rumble. You know, we would then see Wade Barrett, pissed off at that, just grab Bo Dallas by his long hair, just pull him over the rope, send him flying down to the mat, and will deliver that bull hammer to him. Tammy, do you think possibly we could be seeing some type of a match that could go down between these two men on NXT wrestling coming up this week?
Oh, I could definitely see that. I could definitely see that because it didn't stop once Bo Dallas got eliminated.
Yeah,
they were still trying to hammer it out because he was basically saying, "Okay, I got you now. Let's do this.
Yeah,
let me give you some payback for what you just did to me."
I really hope they follow up on this. If not on NXT, I would at least hope they can follow up on this on Raw or SmackDown. I would really love to see it. Welcome to those of you that's joining us right now. Black Avenger, a.k.a. the Black Azrael, Lee Sanders, with the Ice White Queen herself, the lovely co-producer Tammy. We're covering the fallout from tonight's WWE Royal Rumble pay-per-view that came to us from the U.S. Airways Center in Phoenix, Arizona. Taking into the chat room now we go. We see iRadius, welcome to you. Philip Broom, welcome to you. Welcome to all the guests. We have over 40 guests that are in the chat room right now. Thank you for checking out tonight's post show. We really hope that you're enjoying it so far. Let's go to a comment that iRadius is saying right here. He said, pay-per-view sucks. Anytime CM Punk loses to an elbow. Really? I definitely cannot agree anymore with that comment. I mean, really, I would have preferred to see a rock bottom or at least a series of them. I would take that over a damn elbow any day, but it is what it is right there. But once again, we see that John Cena is the one that had won this Royal Rumble match. Let's just finish out the order of eliminations here. I believe I had left it at Bo, what was it? Let's say Bo Diddley?
Dallas.
Bo Dallas? You got to say Bo Diddley. You know where my mind is right now. We would then see Ryback come in at number 30. Now, your eliminations in a nutshell, folks, for those of you that had the unfortunate pleasure of not checking out tonight's pay-per-view. Ryback, single-handedly, he eliminated Damian Sandow, Sin Cara, Miz, Chris Jericho. Got eliminated by Dolph Ziggler. So heartbreaking right there. Probably the one thing that Chris Jericho has not done in his illustrious career. He has not won the Royal Rumble. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed, hoping that the Ayatollah of rock and roller will be able to pull it one more time. We saw Randy Orton. He got eliminated by Ryback. Dolph Ziggler, he got eliminated by Sheamus. Sheamus would get eliminated by Ryback. So my numbers might be a little bit off here, but just right there, it looks like Ryback was the Kane of this year with the most eliminations. Your thoughts on Ryback's dominant performance in this Royal Rumble, despite the fact that he was not able to win it, as at the very end it was down between him and John Cena.
Well, he certainly came out and with one heck of a bang and really just started eliminating people right off the bat, you know. And it really makes you kind of wonder, you know, where his place is within the company, you know, and just that hammering out. And not only that, him and Daniel Bryan were probably the ones who got the most reaction from the crowd.
Not to mention Jericho. Definitely want to put him in.
And of course Jericho, you know, being number one, but definitely close second to third.
Yeah, especially with Daniel Bryan. I mean, I believe it was that point where he was kicking the hell out of Damian Sandow there with the yes kicks. And, I mean, the crowd was just – that was probably one of the loudest pops of the entire night for that Royal Rumble event. I just thought that was pretty fantastic right there. But, you know, Tammy, the one thing that I'm getting a little bit irritated with, and I'm sure those of you listening might be a little bit irritated as well, it seems like Ryback is – built up to be this mega unstoppable force on the one hand, but then when they need to try to get somebody important over, Ryback is unfortunately that victim. Tammy, do you see a day that could come sometime, maybe within these first two quarters, where Ryback is not always being put in this type of a position? Because I'm looking at stuff like that, and, you know, you can try to sit up and tell me, oh, well, you know, Ryback is still undefeated because it was this person that got pinned in the tag match, or it was this person that got eliminated in this type of battle royal match. You can hit me up with whatever. A loss is still a loss. You know, is there anything that WWE can do at this point to try to save his stock, or do you think they've been doing a pretty good job in the way they've been utilizing him so far?
Well, I think there's a part of some people that are rooting for the underdog, but I think, you know, they might want to consider doing something different in the next little bit, because in a way, after a while, there's going to be the hardcore people. They're going to be like, well, I mean, he's not going to win anyway, so there's going to be some kind of interference or something else that's going to keep him from that, so what's the point?
Black Avenger, a.k.a. the Black Azrael, Lee Sanders, with the lovely co-producer Tammy of the RCWR Show with you, covering the fallout from tonight's WWE Royal Rumble event. Let's go to the chat room. Very interesting comments from what all of you are saying. We welcome those of you that's checking out the show tonight. Let's go to Rex Banner, and direct quotes right here. You can't make this stuff up. A lot of fuckery tonight. Super Cena wins. CM Punk gets screwed by Coke Boy Vince and can't kick out of finishers. I guess you can only kick out during WrestleMania. Rex Banner will go on to say fuckery. Comedy XY, what a pile of steaming horse shit. They've completely killed my interest in Mania now. I'd rather slice my ball bag with an AIDS-infected razor than see Cena Rock 2. Very passionate words from you all tonight. You can keep those comments coming. Those of you that are active in the chat room will definitely read them live on the air. This is the show for you guys. We make it be as interactive as possible, give you guys necessary tools so that you can interact with us. All right, you know, we were talking about that YouTube pre-show, and I want to go over this in a nutshell, and then I want to go back to Christian and get a little bit more reaction from him, and we can then open up the phone line some more. We got some more people that's calling in. Let's talk about that YouTube pre-show in a nutshell. You know, one of the things that I had noticed off the break, and I'm not going to be going into this YouTube pre-show in great detail as I just did with the Royal Rumble match. I do want to give you guys some numbers. You know how we do it over here. Now, the YouTube pre-show, the viewership opened up at 51,281. Not really bad. Pretty damn good for a Royal Rumble here. Now, we had viewership jump from 54,000 during the Josh Matthews interviewing Big Show. Now, we had a bit of technical difficulties, as many of you that were trying to check out the YouTube pre-show on Facebook, YouTube, WWE's website, you all noticed that they had some technical difficulties, and there was at least about a 4 or 5 minute gap where we did not see what all Josh and Big Show were talking about, but we pretty much had got the gist of it, him trying to sell that match with Alberto Del Rio, basically saying there's no way Alberto Del Rio is going to be able to get a win over him a second time in that type of a match. And viewership had reached its lowest point during that whole glitch thing at 31,409. So look at that drop right there, Tammy. They peaked at 54,000, and they dropped within those 4 or 5 minutes to 31,409. Stream would resume as we had got the WWE Royal Rumble video package that was offering the statistics from what all's been happening over the years. That had actually peaked at 57,473. From there, we had that YouTube pre-show match where the United States Championship was on the line, of which Antonio Cesaro was successful in defeating The Miz to retain his title. Viewership peak at that was at 71,870. Tammy, do you think it was definitely the right move to have Antonio Cesaro keep his title? That way, if this title exchange is going to happen and The Miz becoming the United States Champion, do you think this was the right move to do so that they could build up the rivalry just a little bit more?
I agree. I think they really should let it build a bit more. I mean, I think the pre-show was a great idea. It's kind of I would think of it more as a tease.
Yeah, exactly how it was described over the weekend when we were offering match predictions. A good way to open up the pay-per-view, let it be an appetizer. I was totally fine with Cesaro retaining. It didn't surprise me. And for those that actually thought Miz was going to get the job done, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen on a pre-show. It's going to happen where the big bucks need to be. It's going to happen on the actual pay-per-view itself. Now, from there, viewership had dropped from that 71,870 to 64,929 during the CM Punk Rock video package. From there, it actually ended up freezing again, and this was widespread. We saw all you all's reactions to this. The YouTube pre-show would unfortunately end at 34,010. So hopefully they can have those problems be eliminated come their next pre-show. You know, they've been at it for a while now, and I remember those first couple of months, at least 2 to 3, it was a little bit rough there, but once they started getting the hang of things, then that's when they had sat up, and it seemed like it was really fine-tuned. I'm a little bit stunned that they had these problems over here. Let's talk about the last man standing match, then I want to open up the phone lines. Of course, it was Big Show taking on Alberto Del Rio for that World Heavyweight title. That was a pretty decent match. We saw Alberto Del Rio once again successfully retain his World Heavyweight title. And you want to talk about a serious rub-off that this guy had get. I mean, I don't know how some people feel about this, but, you know, I just thought it was a little bit too freaking cheesy for me to see Alberto Del Rio and Ricardo Rodriguez in a backstage segment, and Bret Hart, of all people, was just there like he's just there to make a cup of coffee, actually saying to Alberto Del Rio, you know, you remind me of a Mexican version of Bret Hitman Hart, of myself. And Alberto Del Rio counters back with, well, you know, you kind of remind me of a Canadian version of Alberto Del Rio. And then we see Ricardo, he's acting all joyful like a little kid, saying, oh, I grew up on you, I watched all your matches, oh, you're my favorite. He actually got to shake his hand. And we see Bret Hart just treat Ricardo like a little kid, busts out the purple pink shades, puts it over his head. Nice little mark-out moment for Ricardo right there. Tammy, I want to ask you a two-part question. I want to put this two-part question out there to those of you that's in the chat room right now, and I want you to be brutally honest. When you all had saw that particular segment there between Bret Hart and ADR, did you guys feel that was just way too much mustard that they were trying to put on Del Rio? I mean, we know that WWE, Vince McMahon, they have been trying their damnedest to get this guy over as a top baby face because they really want to build him up to be able to successfully bring in that Latin audience because they love their wrestling. We know that. But isn't that just a little bit too much mustard that they are doing? As iRadius points out, ADR is the new Eddie Guerrero. I mean, that's exactly the same vibe I was getting because look at the shenanigans there, Tammy, that went down in that match, especially in those final few minutes there. I mean, it was so brutal. I mean, especially when we saw Alberto Del Rio, he grabs that steel chair and he's just going to the body of Big Show with it just over and over and over again. He weakens that arm. Somehow he was able to get Big Show into the ring. Ricardo comes in, just unleashes a whole roll of duct tape over the Big Show's massive ankles and ties him up there to the ropes. Unfortunately, Big Show cannot get up. The referee has no choice but to count to 10. And Alberto Del Rio successfully retains his World Heavyweight title that way, is exactly what we said on our match prediction special. We said, it's going to be like the way this match was going to end. I suspected that it was going to go down like a lie, cheat, and steal. And that's exactly what we had got. It was like Alberto Del Rio just pulling a page out of the playbook of the late Eddie Guerrero, who, quite honestly, nobody did it better than Eddie, let's be honest. Tammy, what was your thoughts about that and just the way they had him getting that rub off there from Bret Hart?
I mean, granted, it was nice to see Bret. My first thought was, wow, he looks different. But my second thought was exactly what you thought. It was really, I thought it was a bit too cheesy. I mean, honestly, you would have thought Ricardo was like a 5-year-old kid who basically is like, oh, Daddy, guess what I fell. And it's like, really? I mean, come on. For me, I didn't.
Hey, only thing that was missing was Bret Hart walking down the hall there from that segment, and Ricardo Rodriguez kind of acts like that little 5-year-old white boy from that little video intro. You guys know what I'm talking about. Bret Hart's getting ready to walk out the arena there, and the little boy goes, Bret! Go get him, Bret!
Exactly. I mean, that's the way it struck me. And as far as the match, actually I thought it was an interesting and pretty good match. Grant you, Del Rio was really just taking it to him, and for me, the one thing is at the end of it was like, really, especially when you were saying, when he duct taped into the ring. I was actually reading on Twitter, and guys, this isn't my particular words, but I found it kind of funny, where basically it was stated that, Del Rio is acting like a true Mexican who fixes everything with duct tape.
Ooh.
So, I mean, that's a bit of a jab, and we apologize if we are offending anybody because we don't mean to, but I kind of thought it was a bit interesting of a comment.
That is interesting of a comment, but you know what? I shouldn't be talking because normally, like, when things get messed up around my house, like, especially when things get messed up in the backyard or something like that, or just, things are loose around the house, my answer, and it irritates the hell out of my girlfriend, I say to her, no problem, just get some hot glue, it'll fix it. Get some crazy glue. That's my answer for everything. I don't really believe in, just get some glue, get some crazy glue, just get some hot glue. That's my answer for everything. But damn, that's an interesting comment right there. We can't help but also, in a nutshell, talk about that tag team titles, and I'm not going to go all in depth with that because I just want to dedicate the rest of the show to opening up the phone lines and get you guys' reactions. Let's just talk about this in a nutshell, then let's just go at it. We're doing pretty good, by the way. I mean, I think we're going to be done with this probably by about maybe 12:10 or something like that, maybe 12:15 max. Let's just have right at it. Tag team titles on the line. Team Hell No, Kane, Daniel Bryan taking on Damian Sandow, Cody Rhodes. Decent matchup. We saw the team of Cody Rhodes and Damian Sandow. They lost. And very interesting note right here. It feels like it's been a long, long time since these two tag teams have been going at it. But, you kind of got to do a little bit of homework here. It may feel like it's been an eternity, but you got to go as far back as December 16th at the TLC pay-per-view, boys and girls, where that was the night that Team Rhodes Scholars became the number one contenders because they had defeated Sin Cara and Rey Mysterio to be able to take on Kane and Daniel Bryan. Tammy, were you a little bit surprised to see the team of Hell No pick up the victory here, or were you kind of looking at a drop here?
I honestly wasn't surprised. I really was not surprised to see them retain, and especially even more so as what you alluded to prior, in hearing the crowd just completely backing Daniel Bryan. So I honestly, no, I'm not surprised at that. And it seems to be that there's a lot more interest, a lot more that invested time as far as the audience into the tag team division at this point. So no, I can see that continuing feud between them and Rhodes Scholars.
I'm happy that it went down this way because, honestly, I don't know what it is, but there's just something. I guess I want to see the rivalry continue a little bit more, but I got to share the sentiment that's been amongst all WWE wrestling fans that's been paying very close attention to the tag division with Kane and Daniel Bryan as the tag champs. I kind of share their sentiments, which is, we need to see new tag champs. I think folks are starting to get a little bit irritated with the whole hugging out. I think a lot of fans would go on record and say, you know what, Kane and Daniel Bryan, they've kind of gone their course. And I think that was very evident from what we had saw in this past week's Monday Night Raw. I was very disappointed with that segment that they had there with Dr. Shelby, the whole graduation thing and the whole hugging out thing. I was very disappointed with that. I mean, on the one hand, I'm proud of Daniel Bryan because he's making the best out of whatever. I mean, he is just able to turn whatever position you put him in from sometimes what looks like to be a very poor writing standpoint, and he is just able to make it golden, okay? And Kane is just there to just enjoy the freaking ride. But, honestly, I'm ready to see these two guys kind of break off. I want to see Daniel Bryan, before this year is out, I want to see this man go back to singles competition. He needs to be right back up there where he truly belongs, quite honestly. I don't know how you feel about that, Tammy. I don't know about
I actually agree. I agree with that. I don't see too much more time as far as the tag team champions being the tag team champions because of, they've had a good run, actually a great run, and I see the support for Daniel Bryan, and if at this point, if he were to go back to doing singles today, he would have the utmost support from the fans.
Yeah. Overall, what did you think of the Royal Rumble tonight, and what would you give it?
Overall, I would give it a 9. Overall, it was actually very entertaining for me to just take away from the whole pay-per-view as a whole. Even to the Royal Rumble, I mean, for me, I guess the element of surprise was, especially for the Royal Rumble, and to see Jericho come back, because honestly, for me, I, was not expecting that at all. So,
because we've been paying attention to that particular story very closely there. As it seemed like negotiations didn't quite go through, as we could have got Jericho back as early as November, but WWE, they wanted a few things that he kind of felt was not within reason. It was really nice to see him come back. I think the real question that we need to be saying to ourselves right now is, with regards to those men that we saw come back tonight, with regards to Goldust, with regards to Chris Jericho, with regards to Godfather, out of those three men in particular, Is any one of them going to be popping up on Raw Monday night? Was this a case where, despite the fact that we saw some pretty good mark-out moments from these guys returning, was this a case where it was just a one-off appearance? Or between these men that we just named, is somebody going to be coming back Monday night? I think that's a very interesting question. Definitely has those that ordered the pay-per-view tonight sit up and go, well, I definitely got to see Raw. I want to know what's going to happen. Of course, all eyes is now going to be set on that Elimination Chamber, and I'm ready to give some early predictions. I normally don't go this route, but I got to echo what I had said on Saturday with our prediction special. I truly believe that on the SmackDown side of things, I truly believe that we're going to see Alberto Del Rio defend that championship against Big Show, who is going to be very hell-bent on trying to get another crack at that belt. I see him being part of the Elimination Chamber match. I see Randy Orton in there. I see Sheamus in there. I see, just for some weird, odd reason, just for the hell of it, I don't endorse this. I'm just saying this is just probably the way they're going to do this. I see Great Khali being thrown in there. I can even see Dolph Ziggler being put in there. Of course, we're hearing those rumblings that it's looking as though it could be Dolph Ziggler taking on Alberto Del Rio at WrestleMania, with Dolph Ziggler finally getting the upset and becoming the World Heavyweight Champion. Now, whether or not that's going to be a case where he's going to cash in that Money in the Bank briefcase to do so, I'm not really sure. I would think so. But that's how I'm looking at things on the SmackDown side of the roster. Raw for Monday night, perfect setup. We're going to have a pissed-off CM Punk, who's going to be looking for a little bit of retribution. Tammy, is this a case right here where we could possibly entertain the thought of CM Punk possibly getting the title back? And that's something that I think really needs to be addressed right now. We've heard a lot of fans that have been talking about this. They were kind of, those that were really paying attention to this, they really had got the vibe that The Rock could get it tonight, but that CM Punk could get it back at Elimination Chamber. Do you think that WWE could go that route? And the same question is given out to those of you in the chat room. Is that something that could possibly happen, or is this a case where, you know what, it's too close to WrestleMania, let's go with the draws right now, and you have Rock successfully retain at Elimination Chamber?
I think it could go either way. I guess it really just depends on, what his schedule is like at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I would think that would be the biggest factor to him retaining or not retaining is really his schedule and how many dates he can give him.
Yeah. Very, very interesting development right there. For those of you a little curious, if you want to pick my brain, I think on the Raw side of things, Rock definitely Elimination Chamber. I see CM Punk being part of that. He's going to try to invoke his rematch clause. I don't see it being a straight-up one-on-one match, unfortunately, although I would like to see that happen again, but I don't know if WWE would go that route. I'm kind of getting the impression that maybe we could possibly see 2 Elimination Chamber matches, but, I'm willing to go out there and say it wouldn't surprise me if they did decide to go with Rock versus Punk 2 one-on-one. If they decide to not go that route, then another angle that we could see is another Elimination Chamber. CM Punk could be part of that. I guess John Cena could be part of that, could he? Or the fact that he won the Royal Rumble, that would kind of, or maybe he could be in a position where if he becomes the champion at Elimination Chamber, then maybe he could kind of decide who he wants to face at WrestleMania. That could be a good stipulation. What do you make of that? Should John Cena be involved in that?
Well, according to, some of the things that we're hearing, whether it be on Twitter or, some of the outlets, the social media, I'm not really sure that a lot of fans want to see that again.
iRadius brings up a very valid point. He said, I heard the Chamber is being sponsored by the movie G.I. Joe. if so, Rock retains. So,
I agree.
Very interesting right there. But those are some early names that I'm giving right there. I see definitely The Rock, CM Punk. I could kind of see John Cena being put in there. If Jericho is back, I can even see him being thrown in there. You can't really have an Elimination Chamber without Chris Jericho. He really gives you some great moments right there. I would hope that they worked out some type of a deal where maybe, he has a limited schedule and he can kind of just poof, here or there. But I can't wait to see how things are going to be playing out. All right, let's go ahead. Let's open up the phone lines. Enough of us talking. Number to call, 646-478-3525. We'll open up the phone lines, and then we're going to go on ahead, give you some quick programming notes, one of which, while we still have you guys in the palm of our hand, we're going to be making one last Monday night appearance. All month long, we've been making special Monday night appearances immediately after WWE Raw. Normally, we air Tuesdays at 11 p.m. Eastern right here on Blog Talk Radio, but it's for this whole new year, we've just been making Monday night appearances. This will be our last one. Do join us. We've gotten a lot of reactions from fans. They always say to us, hey, why don't you guys make more Monday night appearances? So all month long we've been doing that. It's part of our celebration as we're about to reach our 1-year anniversary milestone, and we're also celebrating with our YouTube audience as we have successfully reached over 1 million views, and we're going to have a very special video that's going to be uploaded this week dedicated to our YouTube subscribers. Let's open up the phone lines. Number to call, 646-478-3525. Once again, 646-478-3525. I want to go back to Christian. Christian, buddy, so pick back up where you left off, man. So how'd you like the pay-per-view overall?
Man, it was, I liked it. It was full, man, it was a good treat to see some of the legends, like Chris Jericho, Goldberg. I mean, how Alberto retained, kind of like, how they did the Big Show. It was kind of like, how they tied him up with tape around his. It seemed like they taped him.
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of like. I guess that's like you're saying that Lion and a little bit of Latino heat was, but you're right about that. Eddie Guerrero was one of the best.
Yeah, it sounds like you watching the encore. You watching the encore right now?
I'm actually watching the Royal Rumble, the repeat.
Okay.
The $45 that I ordered.
Yeah.
So they give me like, I ordered it it started around 5, but they're giving me.
And they give you the encore. Yeah. Well, enjoy. Definitely a good pay-per-view. We always love it when Christian takes the time out to interact with us. Very rare that he wants to hit that option to be live on air. He just wants to kick back, relax, and just smoke his mind listening to the good stuff we putting out. All right, let's go to our next caller. Let's go to caller from the 704 area code. You're live on air, my friend.
What's going on, Lee and Tammy? This is Phil from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Hey, Phil, what's up?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. It's my first time talking to Tammy. How you doing, Tammy?
Oh, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. How about yourself? Oh, you said you're
doing
good.
Sorry I like when you're on. I like listening to. I love Lee, but I love listening to Lee and T, I guess.
Well, we appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
Man. I was listening to what you guys were saying. I thought the pay-per-view was pretty good. I mean, I'm over 30 and been a wrestling fan for a long time, so you kind of got to look at I think at least, you got to look at the WWE through, the anywhere from 9-year-old to 17, 18-year-old eyes. I kind of see what they're doing nowadays. I think they've kind of seen the old stars that came up in the NWA, WCW get a little old and kind of pass through, so they're kind of taking aim at that younger audience to build the heroes and the super comic book characters from scratch, kind of like what they did. So, I look at it from that perspective. I thought tonight was pretty good. I think now that I've had some time to think about it, as much as I wasn't too happy with The Rock winning and CM Punk losing, they got to fill that auditorium or whatever the hell that big thing is in New Jersey. That's a huge venue for WrestleMania. and they got to put The Rock and Cena at the top of the card. I did have a question. What happened to the rumors of Stone Cold coming back and Stone Cold and CM Punk doing an angle?
With regards to that, and that's a damn good question. I actually thank you for asking that question, because that's something that we don't really hear too much of, Tammy. We did hear those rumblings there that CM Punk Stone Cold match, something was supposed to go down. And I think you got to go as far back as early 2012. It kind of looked or actually 2011. Stone Cold was like, and he went on record several times. He was like, I'm pretty impressed with what I'm seeing with CM Punk. If he can keep this momentum up, if there was a guy that I could work with, I'd come out of retirement for, it would definitely be this guy. Then we kind of saw him, CM Punk that is, have a little bit of a seesaw there, and we saw Stone Cold, he was a little bit irritated with that. He's like, hey, Punk, what's going on? You kind of got to get your act together, straighten it up. And then, of course, we then see this 435-day-plus reign of this man. Stone Cold has gone on record many, 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 many times, and he has said that physically he is 100% good. He had his little surgeries. He's fine. If he wanted to, he could actually handle the current full-time schedule that a younger WWE wrestler has. So he's gone on record. He's put that out there. The thing is, he just doesn't feel like he needs to do that. He's quite comfortable where he is right now financially in his life. He's very comfortable with what he's doing with the great number of projects that he's doing. And quite honestly, he just doesn't feel the need to come back to wrestling. And, that's a damn good question, and I'm not being funny because, Tammy, we were actually, and I wish we would start recording some of these conversations we've had, because a lot of times, you, me, and Sarah, my girlfriend, we all are just kicking back on the phone, and, we're just, like, having these off-the-wall conversations of wrestling. And some of the stuff that we talk about on here, I mean, don't get me wrong, we do some pretty good stuff, but, like, we be doing some off the map type of conversations dealing with wrestling, some censored stuff that, maybe we should start making a little series out of it. I don't know. But it's a very interesting question right there, because I actually had brought up Stone Cold Steve Austin. I said, I said it Saturday, and I want to say this to you guys because I don't think that many of you had caught what we did Saturday. Enjoy what we're seeing with The Rock right now. And this message goes especially to those younger WWE fans, because you guys are in for a really special treat. Very interesting statistic that not that many people are aware of with regards to Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And Tammy, you know about this statistic. The Rock has made more appearances in 2011 and 2012 combined. Okay? We went through every single movie that The Rock has that's getting ready to come out. He is on one ridiculous schedule right now. He's got movies coming out every single month. If I'm not mistaken, Tammy, I believe it all begins in February and it goes out to the end of the summer. So I think he's got like 4 to 6 movies that's all going to be coming out every single month, and he's able to squeeze in the WWE into his tight schedule. We hear those fans out there that probably look at a guy like Dwayne The Rock Johnson and they don't like the fact that he is taking on the likes of their favorite heroes in John Cena, or he's taking on the likes in their favorite heroes in CM Punk. But, from just that casual wrestling fan standpoint, as somebody that has watched the WWE through the Attitude Eras, I still have plenty of friends that remember watching WWE in the Attitude Era, and unfortunately, they haven't liked the direction that the company has gone with their PG era stuff, and they've gone on to MMA, they've gone on to UFC, they've gone on to Strikeforce, Bellator, Pride. They've gone to those. They've started following boxing more, but you tell them that The Rock is back, Tammy, they light up like that 14-year-old kid that they were back then. Unfortunately, there are not that many men the caliber like The Rock, 40 years old, looks fucking phenomenal. I mean, that guy is a beast, okay? And still be able to have the fans in the palm of his hand, something that this generations of wrestlers have unsuccessfully, unfortunately, not been able to do. Not even their white knight in shiny armor, John Cena. And, you know, it's unfortunate because with a guy like Stone Cold Steve Austin, for everything that he's done for the business, I hate to say this because I'm a huge Stone Cold Steve Austin fan. I just don't think he would be able to handle today's WWE.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a whole different era, a whole different scene now as versus back then, and the caliber of talent that you have now versus back then, it's totally different. It's totally different.
Yeah. Appreciate this ride, you know, and this really goes out to the younger audience. Appreciate this ride for what it's worth, because you are not going to see anything like this, possibly never again. And, you know, for those anti-Rock fans that want to get all territorial and all that, you know, the information is out there. You let them know, hey, he's not coming back, you know, to just promote his movies, and, you know, he doesn't need that. And if you've been paying attention, you know, Rock really hasn't even been having WWE plug his stuff like that. WWE's just been doing it at his own accord. I wish I could remember the article. I could try to see if I could find it this week. But I know one of the things that The Rock had said when coming back to the WWE, it's not about plugging his stuff. And he told them, don't be plugging my stuff like that. If y'all want to do it, you know, do it. But you know, this is really about me giving back to wrestling, because I wouldn't be where I am right now if it wasn't for the WWE. This is a guy that's giving back. He is a successful movie star. He is making millions and millions and millions of dollars. He doesn't need the WWE. This is truly a case where this young man, 40 years old, who's been very successful in movies for the past 13 years, he's just doing this completely for the fucking love of the sport, for his fans. And you know what? Despite what happened tonight, you know, I'm still excited for WrestleMania. You know, I'm like 14 right now. It's like I get to relive the Attitude Era, you know, one more time. Let's go to caller from the 210 area code. You're live on air, my friend.
What's up, Lee? Long time no talk.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Homie.
Oh, all right. What did you talk about the Royal Rumble pay-per-view tonight?
I thought it was a pretty good show. Nice little surprise entries. Nobody thought were going to show up. And, I mean, I am disappointed about The Rock winning, but I guess I could see it as a business point. You know, you wanted to have your biggest star, The Rock, versus your other biggest star, John Cena. It's just the predictability about it was just so predictable. You know, you knew once Cena won the Royal Rumble, you knew The Rock was going to win the title. That's the only thing I had a problem with, but the Royal Rumble itself was pretty damn good.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And then, I mean, also with the Last Man Standing match, good match. I just hate how they recycled it. You know, they used the duct tape. You saw that against Batista Cena. Use it against Big Show. I understand it. It worked out, but I wish they would have did something a little bit differently. But I'm surprised Del Rio is so over as a face. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, the fans are definitely supporting the hell out of him. I mean, Tammy, your thoughts on seeing just all within the span of a matter of weeks? Because, I mean, at the beginning of this month, Del Rio was still a heel, and, I mean, the fans have just been eating this up.
Yeah, maybe it's really just the push he needs to kind of get over, but I've never really been Alberto Del Rio fan from the get-go.
I love it when you say that. You've got to be babyface heel. It don't matter to you. You still don't like the motherfucker, quite honestly, right?
Exactly. You hit it right on the head.
Oh God! All right, let's go to the caller from the 269 area code. I think I know that number, but I'm not going to put the name out there because, you know, sometimes I get old. Sometimes the numbers look familiar. I want to say that's Dave from the Michigan area. Hopefully I'm right. All right, you're live on the air, my friend.
You are correct, sir.
Oh, all right. How you been, man?
Not too bad. Kind of like, I think we all kind of knew once we found out where the WWE Championship match was placed at. Once we got, you knew they weren't going to send the fans home with The Rock in the main event losing, especially if Cena won the Rumble. And it was just like, it was just too predictable, I think, to see, like, when's the last time Cena's been in the Rumble? Like 2 years? 2 or 3 years? And all of a sudden he gets put back in it. And it's kind of like, I see where they're kind of going shortness, like kind of like a sprint over a mile, you know what I'm saying? Can't go for the short-term fix, like put a Band-Aid on it. What are you doing when these guys, like I remember last year's Royal Rumble, Hacksaw Jim Duggan probably got the biggest pop out of everybody at the whole Rumble.
Yeah.
And he's like, what, in his 60s? And he's getting bigger pops than everyone in your locker room? I mean, what is that? I mean, that says there's really a hardship for wrestling fans right now. There's no characters.
Yeah,
I mean, that's why we're getting all these old guys.
Yeah.
I mean, people want to complain about The Rock being there. I'm not a fan how they did it, but, I mean, if these guys were doing their job, we wouldn't need all these old guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad. I mean, because I really hate to have to see The Rock. I'd love to see them come back. But because they have to come back, we need them more than they need us.
Right. Otherwise,
I mean, Jericho, seeing him back was like a shock to me. I tried to stay off the internet and all that, so I don't feel spoilers, but I don't know if it was leaked out or not, but I mean, that was kind of cool to see Jericho make his little surprise appearance, and then, or not, well, I should say. But I mean, to have him come back, and he got a decent pop. I'm not sure if anyone really got that overwhelming pop tonight, though.
With the number of people that came back, no. I mean, honestly, the loudest pop really came from Daniel Bryan delivering those kicks to Damian Sandow there.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like 2 years ago when we had the 40-man Rumble, we had all those great comebacks.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite Rumble of the past, like, 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Because we had so many great returns. I mean, it was an epic Rumble. And, like, today, I mean, it was a good show. I'll give the show a pass. It was a good show. I mean, it was really entertaining. I was entertained tonight. I mean, the Kofi Kingston thing was really kind of really weak, I thought. They spent way too much time on that.
Well, I don't know about that. I would have to disagree about that. I thought that was actually kind of clever because I must admit, you know, Tammy, I don't know about you, but I know from the number of people we were interacting with, it was kind of like, okay, how's Kofi going to kind of get himself out of this little jam here because he's way over there. Since I put him there, how's he going to kind of – I thought it was very creative, and quite honestly, you know, I actually was looking at Kofi Kingston wondering, okay, what are they going to do with him this year? How are they going to try to put a little shock value to this? You know they're going to try to capitalize on how he had came into the ring last year. What are they going to do this year? Honestly, for Royal Rumble matches, possibly getting eliminated, I thought that was a nice touch. And I mean, quite honestly, I think they kind of got their own little running gag with that. Kind of like when Rey Mysterio, WrestleMania time comes around and they're kind of wondering, how's he going to come out? What's he going to be dressed as this year? And you see him come out with those different type of costumes. Tammy, your thoughts there on what Dave had said there about seeing these old guys, you know, as you know, a lot of people are calling them coming back to do the job that these young wrestlers can't. Would you agree to that to a certain point, or would you disagree? Tammy. Might have a bad connection there. I don't know what's going on with Tammy. I might have accidentally muted her. Let me see. Yes, I did. I am so sorry about that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm back. But basically, I have a feeling that that's a bit correct because I think that they're bringing some of the older wrestlers back as in, okay, let's help them with the product. That's because the younger guys aren't as strong as some of the older wrestlers that have perfected their craft.
Mm-hmm.
So, to a point, yes, I do agree with that. As far as the Kofi part, you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion. For me, I found it very entertaining. Like I said, happen to like Kofi quite a bit. I'm amazed at his agility and on some of his, you know, kind of off-the-wall antics on some things and what he does, but that's just his character.
I'm going to say this because it's a topic that I keep hearing time and time again. Let's be for real. The WWE that we have been getting for, I would say about the past, I want to say 4 months, maybe even 5. Tammy, you would have to think about this, but, we've heard that topic before. Well, the old guys are coming. We've gotten exactly what we've wanted as wrestling fans. We've gotten new faces. We've gotten new rivalries. Okay, there really has not been that much of an injection of old wrestlers. I can't help but kind of compare this to, daytime soaps where, you got the old cats that have been around for 20-something years on the same soap. They're making their exit. They're making way for the new blood. Nowadays, if you looked at a soap that has been on for, 20-something years or more, you kind of see that from that cast, only maybe 3, maybe 4 out of the 12 are veterans, and they're surrounded by a new cast. Sometimes you kind of need it to go down that way. It's equivalent to your employer. Picture your company picture the job that you have at a company. It's being taken over. And, there's not going to be just a sea of new people that's just going to come in and just, boom, they're just going to start doing the damn thing. They're going to slowly come in. They're going to work with those old people, learn as much as they can, and then they're just going to run off and they're just going to do the damn thing. Succeed or fail, they're going to be out there. Their neck is going to be out there on the line. And I think with the WWE product that we've been getting these past few months, I've been very pleased with the direction that the company has been going. We've got Ryback. We've got Damian Sandow. We've got a reignited Cody Rhodes. We've got the Shields, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. We have Antonio Cesaro. We've got the injection of NXT wrestlers. This has really been a fucking good year for WWE so far. We saw a little bit of the prelude in how they were going to be going. What was that, around maybe October, November? We've really been getting a pretty good product from them. It's been giving a little bit of everybody something to talk about, even the internet darlings that have been following their favorite guys like Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins. This move that they're doing right here with guys like The Rock, this is all about pulling in the big money right now. And you know what? At the end of the day, if they feel that this is what they need to do, if they feel that they need to reach out to guys like him, reach out to guys like Undertaker, reach out to guys like Chris Jericho, you know what? I'm all for it. So as long as it keeps being utilized, the way that they are utilizing it and it's not being overrun by veterans. Tammy, final thoughts.
Yeah, I agree with what you just said. What my thoughts were is, yes, they are bringing in the older wrestlers, but they're bringing in the older wrestlers to help the younger wrestlers to become, more and be better wrestlers, have better promos, and just become a better product as a whole. Yeah. Honestly, having Rock, for me personally, I happen to really like The Rock. To see him, get the title, awesome. Yeah. But one of the better pay-per-views that I've seen in a minute.
Yeah.
So, for me it was a 9 out of 10. It really had that element of surprise. It had the old and the new. It was really, for me, it was a good pay-per-view.
And, folks, that's it. The post-show is over. Thanks to everybody who checked us out tonight. Check us out on YouTube, the RCWR Show. That's it. We'll see you this Monday at 11 p.m. Eastern, right after WWE Raw. Everybody, take care. Be safe. Be kind to one another.